Hey, what's up, Shaq? How you doing? You got something you wanted to say before we get started?
Yeah, because I can't be here. I'm teaching a class tonight at 7 o'clock, so I can't be here. But I love this topic, right? You know, I love intermodal, and I love drayage. So I just wanted to say this because my class started at the same time as this, so I can't be here. But I wanted to say this, that drayage is often left off the table in discussions. I think that intermodal is often left off the table in discussions. I think that people are not very familiar with the ins and out. You have good speakers that are coming in tonight to talk about them. I saw the flyer. I put it in my stories to help promote it because people need to be here for this. I'm glad that you are opening the door and allowing your platform to be used to just give more voice to a topic that needs not just resources and equipment, but it needs knowledgeable people. And when I say knowledgeable people, I mean just not labor intensive work, but there's a lot of opportunities behind the desk, behind the scenes, in the comfort of your home for drayage and intermodal. We need people that can help discharge freight, book freight. When I say discharge, it's different from dispatch. I just want to make that clear. We need people that are specialized in documentation, people that can get these bill of ladings cut, people that can help with customs issues, people that can get this freight moved to bonded warehouses and foreign trade zones while the draymen are coming. We need people to help with container pools. We need people to help review the documentation that goes to U.S. Customs and Border Protections to clear the freight. So I just wanted to, I know that's not all you guys are going to talk about tonight, because you're going to have to talk about picking it up in the drayage portion. But part of drayage are things that are not hands-on necessarily in the movement, right? The actual picking up and movement. There is a huge portion of drayage that is very, very valuable, very, very lucrative, can be added to a trucking company's service. I mean that it really can be. There is also opportunity, people that's looking for jobs in the drayage intermodal space. Right now, we are looking for people to help support these roles. They're out there. You just probably don't know how to find them because you don't know the words to look for. They're all over Indeed. They are on LinkedIn, and they're not using the word drayage because drayage is used as a form of actual picking up.
Right. Definitely.
Right, so I know it's 7 o'clock. I'm gonna let you guys go. Hey, Christy, always good to see you. And congratulations. I love what you are doing, and I have to go. And congratulations, and have a great room tonight.
Thank you, madam.
Hey,
all right, later.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Bye.
All right, now. Hey, what's up? How you doing, Christy?
Doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm feeling blessed, madam. Thank you so much. I'm very happy that Shaq was able to stop by. Unexpected, but you know she always bringing heat. So thank you, Shaq.
No doubt.
All right. So look, guys, we're about to get started. We do have another member that we want to bring to the stage, but she is not just here quite yet. So before we get started, come on, Christy, tell me, how's everything going in your world? Everything smooth?
Smooth is
loaded question, huh?
Right. Absolutely insane. Fantastic, amazing, incredible, and insane. I don't think smooth would be the word that we use when it comes to handling drayage. But absolutely, like I said, wonderful and crazy, insane.
Okay, all of those amazing acronyms. I just shot a message over to her, but I'm not gonna hold everybody's time. Jamira is gonna join us when she joins us, but she is definitely important to have this discussion. So let's just go ahead and get started with you, Christy Boo. So look, Christy, tell the folks, what is Freight Powerhouse? What do you do?
Freight Powerhouse is an agency, a broker agency of EPS Logistics, and also consulting. Basically, that's what it is. That's what we do. I focus mostly on drayage, but I do everything. It's been more heavily in drayage here within the last year, but I've been in drayage, handling drayage, arranging drayage for the past 8-9 years, almost 10 years. Through different positions that I've had.
Okay.
To becoming an agency.
Okay. All right. So let's just talk about that just a little bit. Why did you become, how did you kind of like fall into the drayage side? Like, what did those past opportunities teach you or expose you to that kind of like drew you to it?
My initial exposure was probably in 2013, 2014. I worked for a 3PL, and it wasn't really heavy exposure, but I was just arranging for drayage, and I was more tracking and tracing, dray moves, but overall intermodal moves for domestic intermodal shipments. It was not international. It was drayage to and from the rails for domestic shipments, usually from anywhere within the U.S. over to the West Coast.
Okay.
From that position, I went to work for a freight forwarder, and I was an ocean export agent. And that's where I really dug deep and got real. I mean, I was an ocean export agent, so I arranged for the ocean export, but I also had to arrange for the inland transportation to the ports. So that's where I really kind of, got my hands dirty. Dealing with drayage. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds very, very exciting. Actually, while you're going through it, I don't know if you saw this bigger picture of, how valuable your skill set would be at this time, in the supply chain. But, the fact that you do have these skills, you are irreplaceable for sure. So thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to go ahead and say, Jamira, thank you for joining us as well, madam. This is the Container Chick. Jamira, can you please introduce yourself? Let us know a little bit about your companies, and we can go from there, okay?
Hello, everyone. I apologize for being a couple minutes late. Hi, my name is Jamira. I'm a retired veteran. I did over 10 and a half years in the Army as a logistician, shipping class 8. I ship all of the classes, really. Retired, like I stated, retired veteran. Now I am the owner of JLUL Logistics, a brokerage, and I am the co-owner of TMU Trucking, trucking company. So I am a brokerage, and I do have assets. I pull out of the Savannah, Georgia ports, and I also pull out of Charleston ports. So I'm here to collaborate with anyone, answer any questions you guys may have about the ports. So, Jerry, once again, I'm here. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, no doubt, man. Y'all don't even realize this, but these two ladies on stage have helped me out tremendously over the last year. I've personally been able to learn the game of drayage by watching their stories, watching, their growth, I want to say I just had my 1 year on Clubhouse, so shout out to me. But in this very short year, I was able to meet Jamira very, very quick into that time. And she had just started her agency. She just became a broker. And, just to see the success that you've had since is, it's just astounding. So Jamira, if you would you be able to start us by telling us, what was that experience like when you got your very first customer that said, hey, I want you to move some freight from the ports for me? And how did you go about getting your carrier to move it?
Well, first, Jerry, I did a lot of cold calling every day. So I cold call. Believe it or not, I called over 100 shippers a day. So the night before, I used to just write down who I want to call. And if they had an email there, I already had my email drafted up. So at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, I was automatically sending my emails out. I landed my first customer cold calling once again. The individual didn't need my service, but he had a partner that needed service to move drayage out of the Savannah port. So December the 5th, my bund went active. December the 15th of last year, we had 35 containers that we had to move by the 1st of January. So what I did was I didn't have any trucks. Well, I had one truck. After that, I didn't have any. So I post on that first. And then after that, everything started coming. And I met someone, her husband drive trucks, and she gave me another gentleman who had a trucking company. He had 5 trucks on his fleet. She gave me his information, and we was able to make it happen just like that.
Okay. Well, what about you, Christy? Like, do you remember getting your very first load to move? And look, before you answer that, y'all, I know that this conversation is about drayage as a whole. These two ladies are, they do have freight to move. So I want to get a background of what they do and then talk specifically about, drayage. So, Christy, tell us about the first customer that you got. And how you went about getting that first carrier to move that load.
Kind of a little bit of a funny story, Jory. So basically, I started out as an employee of EBS Logistics. I was a logistics account executive. It was my first foray into sales. I had been in the industry since 2006 in various capacities, and I was ready to step up into sales. I accepted this position at EBS as a logistics account executive, and I thought, hey, they're going to teach me sales. And I came in there, and they taught me the system, and they said, all right, go get us some freight. Did not teach me that part. So I was coming in every day, and it was a challenge. I was coming in every day with a great attitude. I was cold calling. I printed out all these motivational quotes and had them posted all up around me on my cubicle. I came in with a great attitude. I was signing up for webinars and seminars on sales and cold calling and marketing and doing all of the right things to get business. And it wasn't working. It's not an easy process. And the branch manager would call me into his office, and sometimes, you can't ever let him see you cry, but boy, sometimes it was all I could do to hold them tears back till I got to my car.
Man.
At the end of the day. And, he was in my, but I still came in with a great attitude. And one day he's like, you might want to go ask for your old job back. And I went to my old job, and I asked them for their business.
What?
And they gave it to me.
What?
And they gave it to me, and they are the fourth largest freight forwarder in the world. It was the place where I was previously an ocean export agent. They know that I'm familiar with the volume, I'm familiar with their customers, I'm familiar with their requirements, and they gave it to me, and it was dedicated weekly, year-round. And boom, from that point on, I slid on out as an agency, and I want to say the rest is history. My 6-year anniversary is coming up in 6 days. On November the 16th will be 6 years of being an agency.
Oh, that's awesome. And congratulations. A lot of people get pushed out into their destiny. They don't want to. They fight it. But, apparently you've made it work. 6 years in business. So congratulations, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Now, let me ask this. I know y'all went about getting your carriers that way, but would you do anything differently now that you've been in the game for a little bit? Like the technique that you applied to get your very first load moved. Would you do anything differently now since you got this additional skill?
Most definitely, yes. What I would do is make sure I have my systems and stuff in place. Jerry, because at first, when I first started out, I was using an Excel spreadsheet. Believe it or not, I was doing my invoicing off that Excel spreadsheet. I was doing my BOLs off that Excel spreadsheet. 2 weeks ago, I just purchased a TMS system.
Hey.
And the only reason I purchased that TMS system is because I landed that Steamship line. But and my brokerage is not even a year old. We don't hit a year until December the 5th. So what I would say or tell anybody, have your systems in place. Because when I landed that customer my first time, my brokerage going active, I didn't have anything in place. I wasn't sure about anything. Those of you might know Melissa. If it wasn't for Melissa, I probably
Mama Bear.
Mama Bear, yep. I would still been running around here with my head. So the best advice that I can give anyone in here, starting a brokerage, starting a trucking company, starting a dispatch, being an agent, is to have systems in place.
Oh, great advice. And Jamira, I got to tell you, I do remember when you landed that first client and how it looked and, just us even having those brief conversations about, how can we get, your carriers and, you definitely pulled through like a champ. So, it's great to see you on this side of everything, all the success, all the growth over the past year. So, thank you for being here. And I just wanted to throw this question to either one of y'all y'all, let's just open it up with something simple like, to y'all, what is drayage? What does that mean? What does that embody when you hear somebody say the word drayage, or if you had to explain it to somebody? Christy, what do you say?
Drayage is basically the transport of cargo via containers to and from the port or the rail, to and from the shipper or receiver.
Okay.
For the most part, it's power only moves. Chassis are required. Most of the time, it's local and regional, round trip.
Okay, I agree. I mean, to be honest, Google says something very similar because, I Googled it right before I started this. It says drayage refers to the process of transporting goods over short distances. It includes the trucking of containerized cargo from one port to another or from a port to a rail yard, and it is an essential part of intermodal shipping. So I think you hit that right on the head, madam. So thank you so much. But look, I want to ask this. Like, I know that
question before you move forward.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So, what people need to understand is drayage also deals in coal reefer freight as well. You can move drayage as coal goods too. A lot of people don't think so, but you can move drayage as, reefer freight as well.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. I think we're about to gloss over that, and people did. I think you just taught some people, so thank you so much for sharing that. I was about to, kind of transition to the fact that people will say that we are in the golden age of trucking, which means these rates on the spot market have been phenomenal, at least for over the last year. So, where a lot of people have their attention on the load board, why are y'all thinking that, what benefit would it be for a mom and pop shop to, turn their sites to the ports or the rail yards? What type of benefits would it, be found there?
You have a lot of benefits. Right now, the port is overwhelming right now. And when I say overwhelming is you got so many vessels sitting in the water waiting to be berthed, but you also have so many containers that, they can't move. It's bad now that the empties are taking up a whole side of the port because so much freight is being moved. And then if a mom and pop come with a container yard, Christy probably can back me up. They will make so much revenue right now due to the fact that you only get a last free day. You have 5 days to move cargo out of the port. So right now with the port being so backed up and overwhelming, someone come there with a container yard, Savannah, Charleston, Jacksonville, and you have land and they can put their containers there, you most definitely will boom revenue really fast. Am I right, Chris?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. Even on the import side and on the export side, especially with the containers out there waiting to be berthed, the port's not having room to receive more containers until they move some containers out. And so the vessel schedules are sliding, even with the exports. Once you get something loaded, the ERD changes and we need somewhere to hold that cargo. So without a doubt, having a space to hold the containers, external storage, absolutely is important, and you can make money there, but also just in moving the containers themselves. I mean, the volume is there, it's frequent, it's dedicated, it's steady, it's high volume, and it's year round. These folks that are importing and exporting, it's not like a onesie twosie type thing. They're doing this on a regular basis. So if you get in there as a small carrier and you build the relationships, it will help you grow your fleet. And you start with your one truck and you build to 2 trucks, build to 3 trucks, and the money is there. It's
okay,
without a doubt.
All right, yeah.
I most definitely agree, especially with export. I have had a container sitting out since last week because my port cut date changed. So we're just waiting to put it on the ship, and it can't get put on the ship until Friday, but it's been out over a week. So yeah, you still can do good on export and import side.
Okay. And for the folks who, are new into the industry, never even heard of what drayage is until now, like, is there a minimum age on the MC before they're qualified to, do the port work?
No, there's no minimum, for port. The only thing is you have to connect with a broker that will allow you to pull their freight, less than 30 days old on your MC. Me, I'm that broker that I will give you a chance to pull my freight due to the fact that somebody gave me a chance when my brokerage was a couple days old. You see what I'm saying? So I would give you that chance. But what I would tell anybody that want to do port work, you have to have patience. If you do not have patience for port work, you're not going to be successful inside the port. You're not. Everything is not fast paced. Everything is not, I'm going to get in and get out. You must have patience. I done had some of my drivers sit in a chassis line for 2 hours. So when people come talking about they want to do port work, really understand what you're saying when you want to do port work, because it's not easy.
Okay. So, that kind of, you touched on something, and I want to just, I want to finish with this not easy and the patience and all that kind of good stuff. But you did touch on something about people giving other folks an opportunity, a shot. You got one. I really agree with that. You know what I mean? Like, how do you know that, you can really do something until somebody gives you that opportunity? So I want to say thank you. And Christy, I know that you would too. I know you would, but I know that EPS has a very, very stringent clause. It has to be how many months, how many days? 120.
It's 120 days.
120 days, man. Look, they're trying to make sure nobody runs off with the freight. And I understand it. But,
It used to be 30 days, Jory. They just changed that June 15th. And trust me, I've been crying.
Yeah, me too. I got all these new carriers.
I've been trying to set them up. Me and Dee been trying to get you right.
All right, exactly. Hey, shout out to Dee. She's definitely in the audience right now. I've been working with her for years. So look, if y'all looking for an agent, a broker, please go ahead and reach out to Dee. But look, back to what Jamira, you were saying. You said patience. What are some of those bottlenecks that you see on the ports? You said the chassis, getting a chassis. Is there anything else? Like, describe what is getting a chassis for the folks who don't know, and then what's another pain point?
So getting a chassis is, the chassis is what the containers sit on. You need a 20-footer or you might need a 40-footer. You have to pay attention to your ticket. So what it is if you go in the port, I, as a broker, will assign you a container and I will give you a PIN number. That PIN number is what you give the kiosk. The kiosk will give you a ticket and let you know what stack to go and get that container out of. Once you get over there, if you don't have a chassis, you have to go to the chassis yard. Right now, with a shortage of chassis right now, and I'm going to be honest, my drivers, they still have chassis we done had it for over a month now. Because there's no chassis. So when you go in the port, you don't have a chassis, you got to wait probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes longer to get a chassis. And then once you receive your chassis, you go get your box. But another thing is you might be right there waiting on a crane operator to drop your box. If those linemen come in and they got to get those containers off their back, you might have to wait for an hour for all those linemen to get unloaded. And then you get in line. So you just gotta have patience, period. And for instance, you might use one of my pins, and for some reason my pin might expire depending on what time you got to the port or whatever. You gotta contact me to give you another pin. So you just gotta have patience all over. You must have patience.
Okay. And why do folks got to contact you to get that pin? Like, do you have a special designation as to how you can give out those pins?
So the only way you get a pin is you got to move my freight. So that's the only way I can give you a pin. Also, the only way that I can get a pin for you to move my freight is something that everyone probably been hearing and everyone waiting to hear about it. The UIIA. So For you to get connected with the ports, you must have the UIIA. So everybody want to know UIIA. Yes, we all can go get UIIA. We all can, but that's what you need for the ports. I'm not telling you it's hard. I'm not telling you it's easy, but what I will tell you is it will raise your insurance. Your insurance will go up. So what happened is once you have UIIA, the port links to your UIIA and see that you have that intermodal interchange, on your insurance. And you set up with the port. And once you set up with the port, they give you access to the port. But you got to have a steamship line or a freight forwarder who's giving you freight so you'll be able to assign a PIN number to certain containers.
Okay. So look, you kind of touched on a few things, and I want to come back to some stuff that we talked about before, but let's just go ahead and say, hey, if a carrier was interested in moving freight from the port or rail yard, what do they need to have in place before reaching out to you? And you just said the UIIA. That is an organization that, the actual endorsement that you need on your insurance is what, Christy? It's the UIIE- what?
UIIE1 endorsement.
Yes, ma'am.
Additionally, that interchange, every steamship line in Jamira, because she's actually gone through this, can probably attest. When you register with UIIA, you have to select the steamship lines that you want to be flagged to be able to pull from or work with, and the rails that you want to be flagged to be able to pull from or work with. Each steamship line or rail has a different interchange requirement, and some have additional requirements. For example, Maersk requires that you have a DOT inspection, a recent DOT inspection, and have a certain safety score. So once you have that UIIE1 endorsement and the required intermodal interchange coverage requirements, then you should be good to go with UIIA and registered. Right?
Right.
Yes, that is correct. But however, now you also want to do a research on what steamship line you want to pull from, because I'm gonna tell you now, majority from when we first got our UIA, most steamship line didn't require you to have a DOT inspection. Now they have changed it. If you want, Christy, you can back me up on there. As you stated before, you have to have at least 3 DOT inspections before they even unflag you. There's no way you can cut cross it. You have to have 3. If you have zeros going straight across, they're not going to unflag you. I'm just being honest. They're not going to unflag you at all.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I think that a couple other things that you need to have in place are the SCAT code, which is a standard carrier alpha code, and I'm giving you this definition just because, I like to know what these these things be standing for, because I see all of these. What are these things? These abbreviations? I'm losing my mind right now. But these SCAT codes, it's a unique 2 to 4 digit letter code used to identify your transportation company. And look, new carriers, you can go ahead and get this. It costs about $85. You got to get it from the National Motor Freight Traffic Association. And like I said, you kind of get it next day. You just pay your little money. You don't even have to be a carrier, really. I mean, well, I'm not going to say you don't have to be a carrier, but just put it like this. I own a dispatch company, Atlanta Dispatch LLC, and we have our own SCAT code. So you can do it. You can do it really quickly. Just go ahead and register for it. Anyways, the next thing you would need is a TWIC card. So y'all, please explain what's a TWIC card for the folks. Either one. Chrissy, what's up?
Look, I don't even know what the acronym stands for. I just know, to be honest,
the Transportation Worker Identification Credential.
Yes. So basically, it's a background check, more or less.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just saying that you've passed an intensive background check that gives you access to the ports.
Right. And having that TWIC card, do you feel as though it gives you any type of, does it speed up anything, on the ports when it comes to the congestion and just that going back to that patience piece, Jamira? I know everybody got the TWIC card, but shouldn't it speed up something?
No, the TWIC card is not going to speed up anything. The TWIC card is only a badge allowing you to go into a federal government facility. That's all it's doing. Also, those of you, I know people saying, well, I got a record. It's okay. I know people that got a record that did 20 years in, the feds, and they still have a TWIC card. It depends on what your background is. So I'm not telling you not to try it, but it's $125.26.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, $125.26. You can go to any urgent care that do DOT physicals and apply for your TWIC card. Any urgent care in your state, area, wherever you at, that do DOT physicals, and you can apply for a TWIC badge. Also, your TWIC badge is good if you're flying. If you're flying, you can use that TWIC badge for identification purposes. So if you flying anywhere, you most definitely can use that.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate that because, a lot of people get the information, but it helps to know exactly where you can go and get it to. And, that was a little joke because I know in regular freight, spot freight going on to a military base or something like that, if a driver has that TWIC card, it kind of speeds up the process and it saves you sometimes an escort fee. So I was just thinking maybe it got some extra weight on the port too. But now you said that's the cost to play the game, huh?
Yeah. It's not gonna speed up. It's not gonna speed up anything. The port is the port. The port you might have a good day in the port. You might have a bad day. That's the port. That's just your identification to get inside the ports. Also, a lot of people have sleepers, and a lot of people like to bring individuals on with them. You cannot get inside the port with someone in your sleeper. You can try it. But once you get caught, they will ban you from all ports. They'll take your badge and you will not be able to get on in anymore.
Wow.
Now, since the holidays have came, we have DOT on inside Savannah Port doing inspections and everything. So if you try to sneak someone in the port, it's not going to work because just about every trucker is getting inspected.
Okay. So, is port work, or I guess entering the port, just as restrictive as a military base? Because, if a trucker, if a carrier, a driver, if he's not up to date, he or she's not up to date on some of their stuff, they're unable to enter that port. I mean, that military base. Like, if you back on your child support, you better not go on that military base. You better not, because you're getting hemmed up. So is it stuff like that too, or is it more so, just the regular stuff?
Well, in the port, the driver has the badge. Once you enter in, you go to a kiosk. You get to that kiosk, you talk to them over the intercom. They ask you for your tag number, and they ask you get an identification that comes with your badge. It's a PIN number, whatever PIN number that was assigned to you or whatever PIN number that you assign. You give them that information. You give them whatever the PIN number is to that box, and then, you go on through.
Okay.
In Savannah Port, if you don't have the bar, it's called a RFID bar on the back of your truck that identifies the SCAT code that you're under and who you pulling freight for. You have up until 5 times to go inside Savannah Port with no bar. Once you get on your 4th time, they let you know, hey, this is your 4th time entering into the port without the bar. You need to go see Credentials. And then, you set up in Credentials and you go from there.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm learning a lot more of the steps than I've ever learned. So thank you. I appreciate that so much. And I'm pretty sure the audience does too. Look, you mentioned something earlier about your drivers having the chassis for about a month, that there was a chassis shortage, and you just got to do what you got to do to keep on rolling. Who are the hands, the powers that be when it comes to the chassis? I think it's a couple big companies. Who are big when it comes to Savannah and Charleston when it comes to getting those chassis?
Well, Jared, we have had our chassis. We got our chassis out the port. Some of my owner operators have their own chassis. but we get our chassis out the port. So what happens is I get a chassis bill, because as a broker or as a trucking company, you will have a chassis bill. You set up with the chassis pool. You got DCL, you got Track Modal, you got all those companies that have chassis, and then basically they lease them to the port, and the port lease them to you, but you just have to pay DCLI, Track Motors, or whatever. So, I have a chassis bill that I have to pay every month because my carriers have those chassis out past the time. Once you get a container off your back, they prefer you drop the chassis. But we don't drop because we have so much freight. We have to keep moving. So I tell my drivers, we keep the chassis. And we
right. Okay. Look, well, Chrissy, tell me about the folks that your folks pull chassis from.
Those that don't have their own chassis in the Southeast area have established accounts with SACP, the South Atlantic Chassis Pool, which is managed by CCM, Container Chassis Management. It's like an overall, and all those that Jamira was calling out, I think, fall under that umbrella. But SACP kind of manages the distribution of chassis in the Southeast area.
Okay. So look, we talked about that. We talked about the, just the fact that you have a chassis bill at the end of the month. All right. So let's talk about, there's an A word that is, not always easily pronounced, but it's always a part of drayage work. Let's talk about accessorials, and, kudos to anybody that can just say that word over and over and over. Like, what are accessorials, and why do they play a huge thing in the drayage industry? Let's go with Christy. I know you know this. We done went through this forwards and backwards, and I appreciate you for all that time.
Inside out and upside down. So accessorials are basically anything outside of your standard line haul, fuel surcharge. Even your daily chassis rental is considered an accessorial. So there's a list of fees. Like when people think about, I don't want to deal with the ports. All that time I got to sit there and wait. Baby, it's not uncompensated. People charge port congestion fees. There's, there's detention. Some people only give 1 free hour inside the port. Some carriers don't charge extra, but, you can be compensated for it. Accessorial fees are chassis split fees. It's extra charges for if a container is hazardous. It's an extra charge for a reefer surcharge. If you have that reefer out longer than, you intended or whatever, there's a daily reefer monitoring fee. There's fees for overweight. There's fees for over permit. Anything outside, like everything is compensated, first of all. Anything that's outside of that line haul and fuel surcharge is an accessorial fee.
Okay, what's a pre-pull?
Let's talk about, Christy, the storage yard. If you have to store that container, they're going to pay you for that per day. Not
and a redelivery fee on top of that.
Redelivery fee. It's called, even if you do a dry run, they're going to pay you for that. So everything you do, they pay you for that. Jerry, pre-pull. Pre-pull is, hey, I'm at my last free day, but I don't need this container till Friday. So you want me to pre-pull it? There's a fee for that. So everything that you do at the port, there's a fee associated with it. Nothing that you do is free. You get paid for everything.
Right. And you mentioned earlier, Jamira, that, you got 5 days to move that container. After that, what's that charge called? Is that what demurrage is?
Yes, that is demurrage. But, say if I get a list of containers, I have 5 days to move those containers out. Sometimes you get done within your 5 days, but say like I have one steamship line, they can't accept any more freight. So they're in demurrage, but that's not on me. That's on them because their warehouse can't take anything. So they have to pay the port or the steamship line however much they charge per day for those containers still sitting there.
Okay. So I know that we're talking about demurrage right now, and, that's kind of like a preset thing on whatever the port in that steamship line got going on, like whatever agreement they have going. But who sets the fuel surcharge? Like like, I think it's like 29% at sometimes, but like, who sets that? Is that like a rate that
The carrier does.
The carrier says it?
Well, let me back it up. The carrier sets their fuel surcharge.
Right.
The Department of Energy has a weekly a weekly fuel index that they release on what the fuel cost is. A carrier determines what their fuel surcharge is based on what that weekly index is, that weekly fuel index. So typically a carrier will have like a fuel surcharge schedule. So if the fuel cost is between, say, $3.50 and $3.99 per gallon, then the fuel surcharge is going to be X amount percentage. And it's a schedule that has basically, it lists like what the costs are and what the fuel surcharge will be. So as the fuel index is updated weekly by the Department of Energy, carriers' fuel surcharge will update weekly as well based on what the fuel cost is for that week. Typically, ideally, that's how the structure is. A lot of carriers just throw a number out there, and they kind of move it up and down as they see fit, and they don't necessarily have a structured fuel surcharge schedule. But that's basically a carrier determines what their fuel surcharge is going to be.
Okay. So appreciate that explanation. And, I know that you guys said that there's a chassis rental. Mostly is, you, the broker, are paying the carrier to get it. How much is that fee? Is it, what is that fee normally per day?
Well, it's, I have a brokerage and my trucking company. So,
right.
My trucking company, you have to set up an account. If you set up an account, then it's different because you have an account. But mostly the port rent chassis, I think it's between $40 to $45. Christy, is it different? Have it changed?
Well, being that I'm on the broker side and not the carrier side, I hear different stories, I guess, depending on the market and depending on where they're getting their chassis from for what they pay for a chassis. But the standard that's billed to a customer for daily chassis rental, it ranges anywhere from $35 to $50 per day.
Right.
Okay.
Multiple, like Chris said, it's multiple different chassis rentals in there, and they fall under one umbrella. But each basically office have their own different set of charges, so it's really different.
Okay.
But if you want, what I like to do is I like to include my chassis fee into my rate, if that makes sense. That way, it's already covered. When when someone called me for a quote, I go ahead and include it in that rate. My chassis rental in that rate.
Okay. So let me ask this, are you guys completely full right now, or could you use some of our very, very capable carriers that are listening to this, this message right now?
I mean, you can always, have carriers, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of freight for carriers to move. I wouldn't say that I'm full. I'll say, I don't mind a carrier hit me up if they're in my area. Let's network and let's collaborate. Me and Christy collaborate all the time. If I have a carrier that can move this freight for her, one time we was up to 10, 11 o'clock at night trying to get some freight moved. But, we always looking for carriers, right, Christy?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, I'm working multiple markets, and I'm always looking for some good carriers to add to my pool, to my list. For each market, always. I never turn down a good carrier, a good reliable carrier who's registered with UIIA, who can pin their own boxes in and out, and who can reserve their own chassis. I need to clarify that. And somebody who's got a place to park that box in the event that it can't engate at the port in the ERD slides. Because if you don't, there are some requirements. Like I need good qualified carriers who know what they're doing.
Right. Well, look,
I don't have requirements, so so I'm always, looking for carriers, especially now since the holiday season. My shippers have asked me to work 6 days a week. So right now my guys are working 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, faithfully. I got one shipper just reached out to me today and asked me, can we deliver on Sundays? Due to the Chinese holiday is almost upon us. So, we're always working. I can always use carriers, especially Jerry and Christy with this contract that I just signed.
Boom.
I'm always looking for carriers. But
Man.
I'm not gonna I don't babysit carriers though. Either you want to work or you don't, and that's just it.
Hey, I hear it, man. I love this, y'all. I know I mentioned this earlier in this conversation, but I met Jamira before she had that first situation, like, thought all the way out, and just to hear how confidently you're talking about all this, it is a great feeling, ma'am. I just gotta tell you that it is a great feeling. So yeah. Well, let me ask this, Jamira, since you do have the trucking side, and so you're a carrier and you're also a broker. Which side of the business gives you the most fulfillment? Which one would you say?
I would say both. Both sides.
Okay.
Both sides give me fulfillment, but my brokerage is more busier right now with paperwork. My trucking company is busy with freight. So right now I'm actually in the middle, tuggling. Which side should I finish first? I actually have to divide my day. I have to give my brokerage a certain amount of hours, and I have to give my trucking company a certain amount of hours, because I have a deadline for the trucking company, by 16:30, 1700. So both sides really keeps me really busy. Plus I have a husband. Plus I have a family, a 3-year-old as well. So I have to divide my time up throughout the day.
Right, and still be posting home cooked meals, y'all. So, y'all, I don't know how you structure your day. I really don't. I know you get up early, early, and I know you go to sleep late, really late. So I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. It's working. It's definitely working. So I appreciate you sharing that. Look, we did have Shaq join the stage right before we got officially started, and I wanted to give her a shout out. She gave me this tidbit, a little while ago, but she said, as a result of the Panama Canal being expanded, Savannah and Charleston are now getting different type of freight than they have in the past. Jamira, did you say that you're now moving hazmat freight out of Savannah?
Right, Jared, I move it all. I move hazmat. I move tankers, tank endorsement. I move it all. Right now, like I stated earlier with this contract, I move everything. The only thing I haven't moved yet, that I can't wait to get my hand on, is oversized freight. But right now, inside the port, I'm moving hazmat, tanks. I'm moving everything right now.
Okay. What about you, Christy Boo? What you over there doing?
Whatever they need me to move, if I can find capacity, I'm moving it. So that includes hazmat as well, reefers, dry containers, 20 and 40 foot. I do everything outside of drayage too, but whatever they need moved. I haven't had any requests for tankers, but if they need it, I can find it. If it's open top, in gauge, out of gauge, flat racks, whatever they need done, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. I did just have a question shot to me in the messages. Look, and we are going to be opening this bad boy up for some questions. So you can message me directly a question, or you can raise your hand. I'll definitely bring you on stage, but be mindful, we are recording. So if you come on stage, I'm going to post this at some point, and you're going to be there. So, just know that. But anyways, I did just get a question of, if there's a chassis shortage, why not use, what do they say specifically? They said, flatbeds, or hotshots. I mean, talk about the flatbeds and, how that can actually relate to this situation.
Well, for me, a regular flatbed, if it's actually loading or unloading at a shipper, typically if a container is placed on a regular flatbed, then it's not dock height. But a step deck, it would be dock height or near dock height. I've never had a request where we've actually used a step deck. I have had instances where, say for an export move, they had me, I had to kind of use a couple of different carriers to get the job done. It was urgent. They needed to get the product from the East Coast over to the West Coast to board the vessel on the West Coast. So we had a local drayman pull a chassis in a container and take it to the shipper to get loaded. Then they had to meet up somewhere where there was a crane and had a regular flatbed driver meet up there. They picked the box up off of the chassis, put it onto the flatbed, and the flatbed trucked it over to the port in Los Angeles. And then we had to get an escort and a pier pass. Because, as long as there's cranes at the port, they can lift it, and drop the boxes onto a flatbed. But typically, a regular flatbed, in my experience, and anybody who has other experience, please enlighten and share. But in my experience, the only issue with the typical flatbed, if it's going directly to like a warehouse or somewhere, if a container is loaded onto a flatbed, then it's not dock height. And so it's not adequate for loading and unloading.
Christy, I must agree with you. I don't use flatbeds due to, like Christy said, it's not dock height. And to me, it's not safe for the warehouse staff or the driver. So I don't use that.
Okay. Well, yeah, thank you so much, ladies, for that insight as to, why a chassis is the preference. I appreciate that. I thought that we had a raised hand, but I guess they put it back down. Folks, go ahead and start raising those hands so that we can get some of these questions in about what you got going on specifically. So I did want to, dang, just like that. Boom. We have quite a few. All right. So look, Jamira, you kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. But I would like to have one thing from each of you. What's something that you feel like is lacking at the port when it comes, like if you had the ability to just, pray your way to getting this something happening to making it more streamlined, better, or whatever, what would be that one wish that you would have? You know what I mean? What would you want to be done at the port? Let's start with Jamira. Jamira, what would you want?
Give me a chassis.
Give you a chassis?
That's about, that's the dying hurt right now is chassis.
Uh-huh.
Now that's it. Chassis. We just need chassis.
Okay. Hey, very simple request. Give you the equipment so you can get your job done. Okay. What about you, Christy? What have you noticed would make this industry, the port, a little bit easier to work with if you had your way? What would it be?
I would have to say the same. I'd have to echo Jamira and say chassis. Aside from, maybe some more staff, to keep more gates open, to help things kind of flow better with the driver's access to and from the port and the wait time inside the port. But the main thing I would say definitely, without a doubt, the first thing that comes to mind is a chassis.
All right. I've been talking to Delmar. I told him, everybody know Delmar from Rent My Trailer Now. I told him, hey, brother, it is time for you to get into the chassis business. I know you got the trailers, but go ahead and get into this chassis business as well. But no,
the same. I told him the same thing.
Yeah. Look, we did have Jessica join the stage. Hey, what's up, Jessica? How you feeling today? Please introduce yourself and let us know what your question is.
Hey, how y'all doing today? I'm a drayage carrier out of Savannah. I pull out of Savannah Port, so everything they've been talking about is real.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there every day, all day long, dealing with it. But my main thing, I wanted to get Jamira's info again. I didn't catch it in the beginning. I heard she said she deals with the Savannah ports, and I'm I'm a carrier. I want to link up.
Hi, Jessica. You're more nice to meet you. I'm gonna give you my number. You can call me at 205-721-4361. That number again is 205-721-4361. And I know this is a recorded line, and I know I just gave my number out.
Boom.
Please, I ask that if you guys call me, I ask that you text me first because I am very, very busy. Very busy. I ask that you text me first, and if I don't respond, please do not get offended. I will respond to you once I have calmed down for the day. Jessica, do you have any more questions for me?
Yeah, one more thing. How did you say you got started with your brokerage? Did you start off as an ocean export agent?
No, that wasn't me. That was Christy.
Okay. Well, if y'all don't mind both of y'all tell me how y'all get started again. Well, Jamira, how did you get started again?
Well, how I got started was I did containers in the military. I love a container. There's nothing, every time it was a detail, I was willing to go on that detail to pack a container. So that's what I love to do. So I got out the military, retired from it, and I met my husband. He was a truck driver, so he wanted to do trucks, and I did research on, let me see what it is. What's the difference between a broker? What's the difference between a dispatcher? What's the difference between a carrier? So I researched all that, and then that's how I, got into it. And he already was pulling out the port, so I was like, okay, you pulling these containers, let me see who ships in the port. I did a whole lot of research for over a year and a half, and then I just went for it. And I found out that the broker is the one who talked to the freight forwarders, the steamship line, directly. So I was like, okay, I want to be that, because a dispatcher wasn't me. I'm not a dispatcher. So I knew, that wasn't what I wanted to do. But as I move along in my brokerage and as I move along in my trucking company, no matter how I wanted to get away from dispatching, I'm still dispatching.
Right.
So, so that's how my brokerage got started. Was it easy? No, it's not easy. Is it a lot of blood, sweat, and tears? Yes, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I stand behind my company. I'd rather work for my company all day than sit up and work for someone else.
Correct. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for coming up to the stage. Jamira, look, y'all, Jamira was not joking. She is a busy woman. Sometimes I text her and I just, I say a prayer with it and I just leave it at that. She get back to me when she can. But, when y'all do reach out, please make sure you have your ducks in a row. Please know that her time is very, very valuable. Thank you again for providing your phone number. We do have another brother that just joined the stage, Lando. I believe. Hey man, we met over the summer. How's everything?
What's going on, man? How you doing? What's up, Christy and Jamira? How y'all doing?
Hey,
feeling blessed.
What's going on?
I haven't seen y'all, and I don't know. Yeah, I forgot when that conference was in Georgia, man. What was that?
June.
About 3 months.
June. Yeah, but we all was at the same thing. So
yeah. So. I just wanted to come up and introduce myself to everyone. Again, my name is Lando. I'm a freight broker as well with grabbing all transports. I mainly deal with the flatbed loads. Sometimes I deal with 53-foot trailers. So I'll put my number out at the end. But quick question for Christy and Jamira. My question to you guys is, I've been trying to do the drayage loads as well. But as far as our customers, do we need to get in contact with the steamship line as far as the freight brokers?
What you mean by getting in contact with steamship line as to securing freight?
Yeah, basically, like, how we look for customers as far as doing the cold calls and the emails, but I've always wondered, like, how do we get the container loads, far as being the freight broker?
Well, I'm gonna come talk to you on the carrier side.
Okay.
You're not gonna get a steamship line on the broker side.
Got you. So how do we secure the freight as far as, like, to have those, your customer to call you to say, hey, look, we got 50 loads, 50, containers that need to go out this week.
Relationship.
Got you.
Relationship. That's how you gonna get it. Christy can back me up on this. Most of the stuff, excuse me, that come out the port is on the time. Is on time.
Okay.
So, it's basically relationship. But if you're trying to go and get a steamship line as a broker, it's probably gonna be impossible. Christy, what's your thoughts?
I've been so busy with the business that I have, and every bit of business that I have has come from relationships. Not any of it has come from cold calling. That I haven't even had the opportunity to even try to reach out to a steamship line to get more business. It just keeps coming at me from every direction, from referrals and word of mouth. You have to go to the people who have control of those containers, and it's not the port. Some people will be like, oh, I went to the port, to see about getting some freight. The port doesn't control those containers. You have to go to those who have control. So sometimes it's the steamship line, and the steamship lines a lot of times, mainly due to rating issues, is only going to work directly with the carrier. And, the steamship lines, the freight forwarders, and the actual importers or exporters of record, those are the ones who are making the call and the determination. Those are the ones who have control of those containers and who's picking them up or who's dropping them off.
Got you.
Did that answer your question? I don't want you to leave here. I know we only got a couple minutes though, but did that answer your question?
Yeah, it pulls on. I mean, if anything, if you don't mind, I'll text your phone. And
you can reach out. You can reach out to me, but the port is the container yard for the steamship lines, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I've been in there. I got my TWIC card. I'm in Virginia, so it's two of them
right
out here.
So the port is only the container yard for those steamship lines. So once you build relationship, then you most definitely will be able to move. My contract that I landed, it came to me. It dropped in my lap. So once you do what you're supposed to do and, build a relationship and be on time and don't be calling these people, because you're in detention for 4.5 hours, you'll be surprised at what they want to do with you.
Got you. Okay. So again, everyone, like I said, I'm a freight broker here in Virginia. I deal with the southeast side. If you would like to, send me your information as far as, if you have trucks, my number is 757-517-5989. Just send me your name and send me your information, and I'll send you my website and all of that, and we'll go from there.
All right, Lando, thank you so much for asking your question. And look, y'all, can y'all humor me real quick? Because I'm as you guys know, I'm a logistics consultant, as Shay would say. She said, Jory, stop saying you're a dispatcher. I'm like, all right, so look, I'm a logistics consultant, and I want to get some carriers on this freight, but I don't know what to do. How does a dispatcher, a logistics consultant, make a play? Is it all relationships as well, or what does that look like for y'all?
I have dispatchers call me all the time, asking to set up carrier packet. What I would say as a dispatcher, when you come to me, have everything, let me know the location. Let me know where that driver is coming from, because that matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
My freight is in Savannah. I'm not out of Jacksonville. I'm not out of Charleston. You see what I'm saying? So I need to know the distance, because some carriers they don't mind traveling to you, but they want to get the rate from their house to your port to the location. You see what I'm saying? So the rates will be different. So have all that driver's, information. Let me know what you're trying to do. Let me know what type of week you're trying to get your driver.
Okay, that makes sense. You just said basically just know your stuff so that they're giving you all that pertinent information up front. Okay. And Christy, what about you? Is it relationship with you two? It's just like, as long as you know that, the person is representing a dependable carrier, that's all you really are looking for?
Not necessarily and not exactly. One of the differences between Jamira and I is that I am strictly a broker. I do not have a carrier authority. And in order to pin containers in and out of the port and to be able to reserve those chassis, that requires a carrier authority who's registered with UIIA. So Jamira is able to accept carriers who do not meet all of those requirements, because she has the ability with her carrier authority to pin those boxes and reserve the chassis, where I, as a broker, do not. A broker without a carrier authority. So I do require, for me, that the carriers, again, be registered with UIIA and able to pin their boxes and reserve their chassis. So for a dispatcher, they would have to have carriers who meet those requirements. And also, again, because I operate under EPS, their minimum active authority requirement is 120 days.
Okay. Look, man, I love these detailed responses. Y'all are very organized, and y'all let me know that I can definitely work on some of that. But I appreciate that. All right, so look, we have a couple more folks on the stage, and we have a few more hands raised. I'm just going to bring these last couple folks up, and then I'm going to cut off the questions just because. I want to respect their times. They both are working all day long. So we're just going to allow them to get their evening. So it looks like we have RJ. RJ, welcome to the stage. Please introduce yourself and let us know what your question is.
Hey, Jory. Thanks for bringing me up. This is RJ, RJ Cooper Enterprises. If I'm hearing you right, if I could squeak out one more question for Christy and Jamira. I'm over on the West Coast, and I was over-road driver for the last 15 years, and I kind of decided I wanted to kind of come home a little bit more in California. And I'm right next door to Long Beach and Los Angeles, and as much as I see those freights moving, I didn't want to go in there, but I see it's a gold mine. You guys said you're over on Southeast. We're putting together our freight forwarding agent, and I'm going to be the carrier company to kind of move across the country from Alaska all the way up to international freight. But since I'm here in California, my question is, would you guys be able to kind of help if I decided to go in there and start moving that freight containers? I'm retired military also, Jamira. So now I'm kind of challenged to be able to see if it's opportunity to handle the Long Beach and Los Angeles ports, but how would I get started? Or do you guys cover over in the South on the West Coast side as well? This is RJ, and I'm complete.
I cover everywhere, all of the markets. I would be able to assist. I am working on some bids out of LA and Long Beach ports right now. They're mostly hazardous containers. But as long as I can cover it and have access to qualified carriers who can access the ports and pull it, absolutely, without a doubt, I could assist. In that area. California is a different animal, as I'm sure you're aware, if that's where you're at. They have a lot more requirements, but I've kind of got a list of those already pulled together that I pulled together for another client that I do consulting for some of the requirements to be able to get set up and authorized and active within LA and Long Beach ports.
Okay, and that would be good. I worked with FedEx and White Glove and UPS and top secret clearances, DOD, and all of that. So I believe I can meet the requirements. I just needed someone that knew how to get in there without me having to start from the ground up to get some good money out of those ports.
No matter what.
All right.
No matter what you set up, you're going to have to set it up, with your policies and your procedures. What I would suggest is, you research the area, know the transportation laws, for that particular area, and, know what you want to go in there, doing. What's your staff like? How many staff members do you want? And just go ahead and set your policies and procedures up.
All right. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate the info.
All right. Well, look, RJ, thank you so much for coming up to the stage, brother. All right. Next, we have Angela. Angela, please introduce yourself and let the folks know what your question is.
Hi, yes. My name is Angela Staten. I have a trucking company, Queens Transport Services. I was just hit with a container moving it from New York to Barbados, and I'm being hit from so many different sides of more qualifications and certificates and so forth that I need. So I was wondering if one of you ladies or anyone on here would like to mentor me to kind of help me through this process because it's new for me.
What?
Okay.
Angela, that's gonna be something that we deal with offline because you got a lot of customs forms. Sound like in that freight. Am I right, Christy?
Yeah, so I agree definitely because Barbados, that would be international, so it would have to hit the water, correct?
Correct.
So they want you to move it all the way. They want you to be responsible for it from New York. You said from New York all the way to Barbados?
Correct.
So my biggest question to you is now, is your trucking company bonded?
Yes, we are bonded.
Oh, Nice. Yeah, that's gonna be an offline topic because there's a lot of customs forms there.
Yeah, and I also have something else going to Tanzania, so I'm trying to get as much.
That's a lot of
That's more like a freight forwarder, honestly, requirement or license that you would have to have. You would have to be probably like an NVOCC to be able to arrange it all the way. Now, to handle the inland domestic transportation as a carrier, just the registration with UIIA and meeting all of those requirements would cover that. But if they want you to be responsible for arranging for the transportation, the inland and the ocean transportation, that's a next level. That's completely next level.
Oh, okay. So would you ladies be able to help?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Angela. I don't do any of that.
Really? Oh, okay.
Well, look, we do have some resources. I just say,
Mark might be able to, jury.
Say that again.
Mark.
Oh, you talk about brother Mark?
Yeah, Mark. My brother Mark might be able to assist you, Angela. I'm not 100%. Mark, if you can hear me, I don't know if you want to come up. Jerry, if you can let him up, he might be able to assist you, Angela. Sorry, but I know I'm not able to assist you.
Gotcha. Look, so we will see if this brother is available to speak. But in the meantime, I will say this. Angela, shoot me a message. We do have some other resources that, they charge for this type of stuff because this is their livelihood. So, but they'll definitely be able to tell you how to do it. But you're going to get charged. So as long as you're okay with that, you can go through my way. I did send that invite to Mark. So if that brother happens to join the stage, he can also speak to it. But we are going to transition to our next person, who is Anthony. Anthony, are you there, sir? All right. So I don't see Anthony. Anthony just left the stage. Now we have Reginald. Reginald, are you available?
Hi, yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Reginald. I'm a freight broker for JLUL Logistics. Thank you for having me. My question is, I do get a lot of container loads, but I'm just a little confused because a lot of them are low rates when trying to get them off. I was just wondering if you can give any advice of how to, I try to negotiate. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to speak to my shipper and, trying to make those rates reasonable so we can get them moving.
A lot of people, Reginald, I'm going to be honest with you, and I know some people might look at me like I'm crazy, but you always want quantity. If you got that shipper that's giving you over 10, 15 loads, give me the mileage for the rate. You don't have to tell me where it's picking up to where it's going. Just give me the miles.
It may be some range from $400 to $500. And of course the rate may be under $2, which I do explain it to them like that. Hey, it's several loads, but they're still not biting on them. So I'm just what's the best way? And I try to negotiate with my shipper, hey, can we bump them up to this and things like that? So I'm just I'm missing out on a lot of, moving freight because of this.
So what's the dollar amount? So you said between 400 to 500 miles. What's the dollar amount?
So the dollar amount be under $2. So maybe $1.46 or $1.80 between there. I'm sorry, say that again.
Where are you located?
I'm located in Georgia, so I've been getting container loads in South Carolina, Savannah, Los Angeles, so all over pretty much. You
moving for $1 and some a mile?
No, I'm not moving them. That's the rate that I'm getting from my shipper. So I'm trying to move them, but of course I can't because no carrier wants to move for that low rate.
It sounds to me, I'm sorry, I don't mean to butt in, Jamira. It sounds to me like the shipper is trying to move containers for the price they used to pay back in the day.
It also depends on what it's coming from. Is it coming out the port or is it already at a yard? No matter where it's at, it shouldn't be that low though. So I'm real puzzled right now.
Yeah, same.
Right.
Same.
Right. They're coming out the port.
They coming out the port low like that?
Yes, and that's why I was so confused. Like,
Oh,
what are they trying to,
I'm not sure what shipper you have for that. Christy, I'm not sure. And I know most definitely Mark pull out of here too. And I know he's not pulling like that.
Same. I'm not getting anybody for any rates like that. And, again, my customers are freight forwarders that have been in business for 60 plus years, and they want trust. They want that their ideal is to pay what they used to pay but before this market blew up. But that's just not the case right now. And everyone understands that rates are driving, capacity is driving the rates. Everyone understands it's not what it used to be. And they can't play that game. So it seems to me like maybe they're shopping around and trying to find someone. They've got somebody probably right now that they're paying more to, and they're just trying to reduce their rates. They're trying to get it back closer to what, to what it was. Because, I was in the game when it was what it was. And it used to be lower. But the focus is on the volume for sure. But I have a couple of lanes, even with one of my current customers, they're still holding out. And, it take an act of God to get them to come up off that rate a little bit. But at the end of the day, when their back's against the wall, they know, the containers have got to move. They'll pay what they have to pay as long as it's reasonable. And I don't mean busting them over the head. A fair rate, a fair rate. It's fair for the carrier. It's fair for the shipper. A fair rate and good quality service will go far. So the only advice I have with that shipper is, stay in contact, stay on them, but also, express to them the market. Send them links to articles that show that that's not the case anymore. And if you can provide a quality carrier who's going to provide quality, reliable, guaranteed service for a rate that's a little more than what they're wanting to pay, there's no reason why they should turn that down.
And also, are you going to them as a broker or are you going to them as a carrier?
I'm going to them as a broker.
Christy, there you go. That's the reason. That's your reason.
Even me as a broker, but again, I've got established relationships,
right. You have relationships, but with Reginald, he's a broker and his percentage for his brokerage is probably high. You see what I'm saying? So me and Mark just had this conversation the other day. So Reginald, what are you going for? Are you going for $3 a mile? What are you going for?
Yes, I try to be within $3 a mile for the carriers.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just keep in contact, keep pressing them. Right now the port is so overcapacitated, they'll end up, giving you what you want because the how the port is running right now.
I definitely appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the question, Reginald. I appreciate that. And thank you for the time and the patience with that question, ladies. All right. Hey, we got another RJ on the stage. RJ, how you feeling today, brother?
I'm doing great. Good evening, everybody. My name is RJ Kears. I'm the owner of Melanite. Based out of Atlanta. I'm a broker. But we've been looking at expanding to Dallas. I'm more interested in matching capacity with some of the drayage loads. I just recently became an agency owner under Trinity, and they personally have over 140 something trucks, and they also have about 40 years of relationships with different carriers. They have a drayage department, but it's they've been real slow with trying to transition me into that space. They really just trying to get my clients off of my my drive-in and reefer side. So, if you guys having those relationships already with drayage, is there a way that we could work together and match capacity with what's available on your end, anything that you can't fulfill? I'm honestly not interested in Atlanta, but definitely in the Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio area.
That'll be fine. Right now, I'm getting prepared to set up in Texas. I'm not fully set up, but you most definitely can send me an email, and then we can collaborate on that. But I won't be set up in Texas until probably like mid-February.
Got you. And Christy?
For me, because you're a broker and I operate under EPS, it would have to go up the chain, and a co-broker agreement would have to be established and agreed upon. I'd be open to it as long as it's approved. It's above my head. But again, with broker to broker, I'm a broker, I'm not a carrier. Jamira does have that carrier side where she's got some more flexibility there. But definitely without, there would have to be a co-broker agreement in place that in transparency where everyone is aware and involved, and it would have to go up the chain and be approved by the legal team and upper management, executive management at EPS. But I'd be open to presenting that to them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I'm on both sides. Like I have my own brokerage and I'm under Trinity, so either way, like I'm allowed to do whatever I desire. So if anything that's needed on your end, any paperwork, anything that's needed, I'm here for it.
All right. Hey, RJ, while you on the stage, brother, hey, man, it's a lot of box truck carriers in this audience right now. You as a broker, do you have box truck freight?
No, bro. I'm off with box trucks, man. I got a buddy, Tone. He's in our group, and he's always he dispatches box trucks, and he's specializing in some of the money he brings these box trucks on a weekly basis. I'm like, man, how you doing it? But that's his niche. But I stay away from it, man. That's definitely not for me.
I hear you.
I'll tell him to come in here.
Oh, gotcha.
Dispatch the freight.
Sure. Feel free to ping, brother. But yeah, RJ, what type of? All right, we gonna talk offline. But look, Miss China, thank you so much for coming to the stage. Please introduce yourself and let us know what your question is.
Hello, everybody. My name is China. Sorry for the background noise. I am a driver. I drive in right now. But I want to know what steps would I need to take to get my TWIC card?
Jamira Boo, can you answer that one?
Yes. So you need to go to any urgent care or anywhere that do DOT physicals, and you can apply for your TWIC badge there. Once again, it's $125.26.
Okay, and what is the best hotspot, to live at for containers? Like the best loads coming out of?
Right now, freight is moving everywhere. Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, Louisiana. So, it's Texas. I mean, it's moving, it's moving everywhere.
Right. She didn't even mention LA. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
So,
New York, New Jersey, Norfolk, anywhere there's a port. Anywhere there's a port or a major rail hub, Chicago, Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta. Just go down the list. Anywhere if there's a port or like just a major rail or transportation hub is a good place to be for drayage.
Say Atlanta about 4 more times. So
Atlanta.
That's where I live at, so that's good.
Hey, shout out to the Braves.
Shout out to the Braves.
Right. Well, look, China, thank you so much for joining us on stage, and thank you for everything that you do, man. We got to give respect to all the truckers in here, because without you all, a lot of us wouldn't have all these nice plush homes with all these things in them. So thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me up here. I made it short and sweet for y'all.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. So look, Anthony, we're going to try this one more time. How you feeling today, Anthony? All right. Anthony, I mean, look, you might be new. There it is. What's up, Anthony?
Not much. My name is Anthony Jones. I'm a licensed customs broker. I'm more on the international side. I just stumbled on this room, and I want to thank, Jerry, Christy, and Jamira. You guys did an amazing job. Listen, I didn't know it took place like that. I control containers. We move about 400 containers a month. We have an agency with a company called CDC. So, like I said, we do freight forwarding. So, if you guys are looking for business, you got to go to the non-vessel owned common carriers. They are looking for truckers. There's not enough. All right. Some of the hot ports in Norfolk, Miami, Long Beach, Chicago. Those are the places where we have problems finding truckers, and it's a problem. It's a major problem. And I just wanted to thank you guys for this platform, and just understand there's a lot of freight out there, a lot of freight, and you guys are qualified. So, listen, if you guys want to have another class on how do I say this, even on the international side, that's more where I'm at. But keep cold calling and sending emails to these freight forwarders and the NVOCCs. Those are the people. And also the rail, CSX, because a lot of that freight comes off the ship and it jumps on the rail. Then it has to be delivered to a door move. So there's a lot of ways of getting business, and they're definitely looking for truckers.
Okay. So look, how can people work with you if they wanted to?
All right. I got to be honest, you got to be careful with some of the people that you deal with. Like the company I'm with now, I don't have a problem with them. I just think that they slow pay the truckers. So some of these truckers need a factoring company to keep things running. Freight forwarders are very savvy when it comes to pricing also. So, listen, you can hit me up and then maybe, we could take it from there. I mean, we move containers, man, and containers move. And with that said, there's not enough truckers out there. So, and also the manufacturers. These manufacturers that are actually getting the product, they are looking for their own in-house brokers. And if you have chassis or assets, the first thing they're going to ask you, do you have assets? You can have 2 trucks or 1 truck. You have assets. That's all they really care about. So with that said, it's there. It's there, people. And let's go get it, all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get it, definitely, Anthony. I'm with you.
Listen, I got ideas, and I have a young lady, too, that she has her own customs brokerage. Unfortunately, my license is tied up with this freight forwarder that I'm with. So I feed her business. But any type of importing and exporting, Jamil is the woman to go to. She's very professional. That's my partner. We bring business. We make things happen. With that said, we're willing to help anybody. It's amazing how many freight forwarders and NVOCC, that's who you're looking for, the non-vessel owned common carriers. They are the ones who bring the containers in.
Oh, look, so go ahead. Oh, my bad. I was about to say, go ahead and tell them what the NVOCC does.
So that's like a person that has a qualification that allows them to essentially book freight on a steamship line. So they're able to get those containers on that line. Now, in the process, there's trucking let's say it's going from the factory in China. I mean, I'll take care of the trucking from the factory in China to the steamship line, control the steamship line into the United States of America. I'm a customs broker, so I do entry into the government. Now, when you're exporting, you don't have to deal with the government, the United States government. You have to deal with the foreign government. That could be a little, depending on the government. Some of these foreign governments are not very scrupulous. We'll use that word. But I control the whole process. And once it comes to the steamship line here in the United States of America, we find a trucker that can handle the flow and move it. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Unilever, which makes the Magnum ice creams, you can look at the back of Magnum ice creams, Unilever. I move 15 containers a week for them alone. And there's nothing to brag about. It's stress. Also, be serious about your business. You know how many truckers will bail on? All right, so a dry container is 4 days to move from the port. A reefer is 2 days. Once that last free date hits, that's $250 to $500 a day. So when these people negotiating about the prices, they're getting hit with demurrage. They should have just paid that money up front. Listen, I'm here to educate. I'm here to learn, but I'm here to network. If y'all looking to, listen, I wouldn't suggest you get with my company because, I think that they pay slowly. I'm not that type of individual, but I do have other people that I can, throw the ball at. Hey, check out this guy, because they are looking for truckers. That cold call works and that email works.
All right.
And say those ports: Norfolk, Miami's a nightmare. Of course, Long Beach and the Chi. And those are the ports where we're really having a lot of problems. But everywhere, there's freight just sitting there. It's just not moving. And it's the truckers. You guys have control right now.
Yeah, the key word when you're calling us, I'm looking to see if you need any help with your dray capacity.
Okay, well, listen, I'm going to put you, one person hit me up because, I don't want to do 50 people, but listen, let's put another group together, And also the young lady with the box truck, that's airport freight. So you want to go try to get with an airport. You know what I mean? Like in New York, we have JFK. That's where I'm out of New York. I deal with a lot of Newark. Anywhere around here, I pull containers in everywhere, all over the United States of America. Sometimes, like I said, it'll jump off the ship onto a rail and it ends up in Chicago. the rail lines, CSX and all the other major rail lines. I deal with CXX for the most part, but they're looking for truckers for those door moves. Sometimes the importer wants everything. It's probably easier getting with those guys than it is to get with the steamship line.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well,
but listen, let's stay in touch. I mean, this is a great, very informative. I mean, to see what you guys go through, and I don't deal with the pricing too much, but I deal with a lot of the entry into the United States. I deal with the government. With that said, sir. I see what my freight forwarders are going through there, and it's not pretty. And I see the game that's being played also. So, it's an interesting game, but it's very lucrative right now.
Yes, sir. Well, look, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us on stage. Look, I know you might be a little new to Clubhouse, so if you want folks to be able to reach out to you, you just go ahead and click on your profile. You click on your picture, and then you click on that little space right underneath where your name is, and you can type stuff right there on the fly. So if you wanted them to
my daughter be up here next week, she'll help me with the technology. With that said,
okay,
I definitely want to help any way I can, and any type of international, whether it be import or export. Listen, that's my little forte. And again, I'm new to the industry, so this is learning for me also.
All right. Well, bet, brother. Well, thank you so much for coming up and sharing. We are here every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. We touch on all these different subjects, so always feel free to come through. Right now, I wanted to just say thank you very much to Christy and Jamira. Look, like I said before, I've gotten so much gain from you two. I've seen your success. I've seen both of you grow over this past year. And, I know you guys are over there working hard. And I wanted to, bring you both up here because you both deserve flowers. Y'all are teaching so many people just by being yourselves. So just thank you. Was there anything that y'all wanted to say on the way out? Christy, did you want to say anything?
Just want to thank you for having me up here tonight, Jory. It's been a pleasure and a joy as always. I do offer consulting on drayage. Click the link in my bio on Instagram to schedule an appointment if anybody wants to dig deeper or want some assistance. And that's it. Okay.
And Miss Jamira?
Hi, everyone. Once again, Jerry, I want to thank you for reaching out to me to give me the opportunity to come on this platform. You okay? Sorry, guys. Anyone can reach out to me. I am, once again, as I stated, very busy. Please have everything that you need, everything that you want to ask me already in place. My niche is containers. I don't deal with anything else. I don't deal with box trucks. I don't deal with flatbeds. So if you call and asking me anything about that, I can't assist you. I'm only drayage, import, export, reefer. That's what I do. So you guys can reach out to me. I gave you guys my number. Call me and I can send you my information and we can go from there. Jerry, if there's no further questions of me, I'm at the ER with my husband. So I'm going to get ready to exit the stage. But once again, thank you again, and I appreciate it.
No doubt. The dedication, y'all. Look, you do your thing, and thank you again. Look, I just want to give a little quick shout out to all the folks who have been supporting for, it's a year now, y'all. So just appreciate y'all. We got Tamika. We just saw each other at the Leading Ladies Logistics Expo. We got Zipporah. Thank you very much. We got my brother, what's up, Durante? We got my nephew, Jamir. We got my mother. We got Sean. Look, I'm shouting out my whole family. We got Nidra. Look, I don't know how many of y'all know someone who looks like me and probably looks just like you that has their own NASCAR, but this lady does. And she is just the most down-to-earth person that you can meet. So, Anitra, shout out to you. Y'all check out the Supreme Transportation Group, NASCAR. I don't even watch NASCAR, but for them, I would. So I also want to give a shout out to D again and Kimberly. What's up, Kim? These folks have been Mark, Roz. Man, it's so many people. My bad. There's so many people that have just been supporting, and I just want to let y'all know that I truly appreciate it. Y'all have poured into me just as much as I've been giving into these weekly opportunities. So I just wanted to say thank you. So we were off this past Monday at 7:30 with Freight Waves, and the way that they do, they've partnered with us to do the sonar, giving you the insights on where to send your trucks at the beginning of the week, so you can kind of start strong. We're back this Monday, so Monday at 7:30 in the morning, we're back. All right, next week, the next Wednesday, we're going to be having drayage part 2. Today we talked about the perspective of a broker. Next week we're going to have a really in-depth conversation about what the day-to-day of a driver who is actually on the port, what they go through, so tune in for next week. And look, in the meantime, I've mentioned this one time before already, but the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse did just get kind of like a new partnership. So for all my box truck carriers and folks who got to be out over the road, we do have an affiliate link basically for discounted rooms. So like if you are needing hotels and all that kind of stuff, we have something. So look, just reach out to me. It might be in my bio. Y'all check out my bio if you're interested in having discounted rooms. It's something new, but I think that it will be able to help a lot of the folks who are having to travel a lot get those discounted hotels. So if anything, just reach out to me. I truly appreciate it. And until next week, I'll see y'all then. Arrivederci. Peace.